Okay, everyone, hello to you all. I hope you're all well and had a good week. First of all, before I start talking about this week's video, I'd like to say thank you very much to everyone who's subscribed and watched my videos so far and have subscribed to my channel. I'm really, really grateful for that support, and it's been great. So thanks ever so much for that. Anyway, so I'm back again today, and today we're going to be looking at part 5 of England's most successful football club, which has got some interesting stories in it, which I hope you'll enjoy and find interesting. So yeah, let's get on with it. So off we go, and into the white blue yonder of England's most successful football club. Yay! Okay, so today's team is a team called Blackburn Olympic. As the name suggests, they are from Blackburn in the north of England. The club was formed in 1878, but only stayed in existence for a grand total of 10 years. However, they played a pivotal part in the beginnings of English football, purely because they were the first team from the north of England, and also they were the first team who came from a working class background to win the FA Cup, which they did in 1883 by beating Old Etonians 2-1 at the Kennington Oval in front of 8,000 fans. Now, the reason it was pivotal was because of the fact that they were the first team from a working class background to win the trophy, because previous to that, the competition had been won by teams of wealthy amateurs from the home counties, and Olympic's victory marked a turning point in the sport's transition from a pastime for upper class gentlemen to a professional sport. So, as you can see, they played a very pivotal role in the development of English football. So, a big vote of thanks, I believe, needs to go out to Blackburn Olympic. Okay, so the next team today is a team by the name of Darlington, who finished 88th in my list and accumulated 167 points. Darlington were formed in 1883 and are affectionately known as Darlow or the Quakers. They were first admitted to the Football League when the 3rd Division North was formed in 1921, and they won their first 3rd Division North title in 1925. And their subsequent 15th place finish in the 2nd Division in 1926 remains their highest ever league finish. After that, after their admission to the league, they spent most of their history in the bottom tier of the English Football League. In 1921-22, they finished second in the third tier of English football, and again in 1929-30, they finished third, but did not win promotion in either of these years. Because of the way that promotion and relegation rules worked between the 2nd tier and 3rd tier that were in place at that time. What I will be doing is putting something on Warren's Team Talk Facebook page explaining how that worked for you all. When that's done, I will obviously let you know. In the 1948-49 season, they finished 4th in Tier 3 and again did not win promotion to Tier 2. Then in 1965-66, Darlow finished second in Tier 4 and were promoted, and missed out on the Tier 4 title by the slightest of margins on goal average by 1.57 goals to 1.358 goals. In the 1984-85 season, they finished third in Tier 4 again, and this time they were promoted to Tier 3. In 1991, most latterly in 1991, they won the Tier 4 title, and then in 1999-2000, they secured a 4th place finish in Tier 4, but missed out on promotion after losing 1-0 to Peterborough United in the playoff final held at Wembley. So that's the end of Darlington. So the next team today is Mansfield Town, who came 87th in my list with 179 points. Now, Mansfield Town, also known as the Stags, were formed in 1897 as Mansfield, what were they called? Yeah, Mansfield Wesleyans, and became Mansfield Town in 1910. And they were admitted into the Football League in 1931. In 1950-51, they secured a 2nd place finish in Tier 3. And in 1964-65, they finished 3rd in Tier 3. And on both occasions, they failed to win promotion. And then in 1976-77, they won the Tier 3 title and won promotion to Tier 2. Now, in 1962-63, they finished 4th in Tier 4 and won promotion to Tier 3. And 2018-19, they finished 4th in Tier 4, but unfortunately lost in the playoff semi-final, to Newport County. So after losing 5-3 on penalties, after the teams drew 1-1 on aggregate in the 2-legged semi-final. In 1974-75, they won the Tier 4 title, and then in 1985-86, 1991-92, and 2001-2002, they secured 3rd place finishes in Tier 4 and won promotion on each occasion up to Tier 3. Then in 1987, they won the EFL Trophy final at Wembley Stadium by beating Bristol City 5-4 on penalties after the game ended in a 1-1 draw after extra time in front of a crowd of 58,586. And then in the 2018-19 season, they finished 4th in Tier 4, but failed to win promotion after losing in the playoff final at Wembley Stadium 1-0 to Tranmere Rovers. Okay, so the next club today is Gillingham. Not my favourite club in the world, it has to be said, but there you go. Gillingham came 86th with 201 points. Now, the reason they're not my favourite club is because while I was following Maidstone, we had a very fierce rivalry with them, being the only 2 clubs from Kent in the Football League. Anyway, less said about that, the better. So, yeah, the Gillingham is, at the moment, is the only Kent-based club in the Football League after Maidstone United's demise. The Gills, as they like to call themselves, call themselves, play their home matches at the Priestfield Stadium, which is an absolute dump in my opinion. But there you go. Never mind, Gills. The club was formed in 1893 and joined the Football League in 1920. However, for them, they were outed. However, unfortunately for them, they were voted out of the league in favour of Ipswich Town at the end of the 1937-38 season, but returned to it 12 years later after it was expanded from 88 to 92 clubs. In 1954-55, they finished fourth in Tier 3, but did not win promotion because only the champions of the 3rd Division South were promoted at this time. They remained in Tier 4 then until 1964, when their manager, Freddie Cox, led them to promotion, winning the first championship in the club's history. The team finished the season level on 60 points with Carlisle United, but with a fractionally better goal average, which was 1.967 against 1.948, which was the tightest league title finish in Football League history. In 1973-74, they finished second in Tier 4 and were promoted to Tier 3. And in 1978-79, they finished fourth in Tier 3, but missed out on promotion by 1 point to Swansea City. Haha, never mind, Gills. And then in 1984-85, they again finished fourth in Tier 3, but missed out on promotion by 4 points, this time to Hull City. In 1995-96, they finished second in Tier 4 and were promoted to Tier 3. And then in 1998-99, they finished fourth in Tier 3 and missed out on promotion to Tier 2 by losing to Manchester City by 3-1 on penalties in the playoff final at Wembley Stadium. And then the next season, 1999 to 2000, they finished third in Tier 3, and this time they won promotion after beating Wigan Athletic 3-2 after extra time at Wembley Stadium in the playoff final. Moving on. In 2008 and 9, although they finished fifth in Tier 4, they did win promotion by beating Shrewsbury Town 1-0 at Wembley Stadium, again in the playoffs final. And then in 2012-13, they won the Tier 4 title. So obviously they won promotion that year as well. So that's the Gills story. Again, like I said, it's not my favourite club, but let's really not dwell on that because, yeah, less said about that team, the better, really. Okay, so the next club today is Bradford Park Avenue, who finished 84th in my list with 212 points. Now, Bradford Park Avenue, the original club was formed in 1863 as the Bradford Football Club, playing both rugby and football. And it started playing football. It didn't start playing football until 1895. Now, in 1908, Bradford FC was elected to the 2nd Division, Tier 2 of the Football League. The club was promoted to the 1st Division, Tier 1, in 1914 after finishing second, and achieved its highest ever league position ninth at the end of the 1914-15 season. Now, in 1922-23 and 25-26, they secured a second place finish in Tier 3 and a third place finish in 1926-27, but did not prove promotion in any of these seasons due to the rules in place at the time regarding promotion and relegation from Tiers 2 and Tiers 3. In 1928, the club were the Division 3 North Tier 3 champions and were promoted back to the second tier of the English Football League. And they were then relegated again in 1950 and placed in the 4th Division, Tier 4, after a 1958 reorganisation when the 4th Division was created. Although the club won promotion to the 3rd Division, Tier 3, in 1961, after they finished 4th in Tier 4, they were relegated back to the 4th Division once again, Tier 4 that is, in 1963. Then after several difficult seasons, in 1970, they were replaced in the Football League by Cambridge United. Okay, so the next team today is Leighton Orient. Bit of the old O's for you, mate, with the jetted heels and all that. Yeah, lovely, jubbly. Now, Leighton Orient, they finished 83rd in my list and managed to get 226 points. Now, Leighton Orient are the second oldest football club in London to play at a professional level and are known to their fans by their nickname, the O's. Hence why I did that little thing at the beginning. The club were founded in 1881 and were elected into the Football League in 1907. They finished second in Tier 3 in 1954-55, and they then won promotion by winning the Tier 3 title in 1955-56. In 1961-62, they won promotion in Tier 1 by finishing second in Tier 2, but were relegated back the very next season. In 1970, they went on to win the Tier 3 title and spent the 1970s in the second tier and reached the 1977-78 FA Cup semi-finals, where they eventually lost 3-0 to Arsenal before being relegated in 1982 and again in 1985. In 1988-89, they finished 6th in Tier 4, but were promoted to Tier 3 after beating Wrexham 2-1 on aggregate in the playoff final, where they drew the first leg 0-0 and won the second leg 2-1. Then in 2005 to 2006 season, they secured a third place finish in Tier 4 and won automatic promotion to Tier 3. Then in 2013-14, they finished third in Tier 3, but lost out on promotion to Tier 2 after losing to Rotherham United 4-3 on penalties in the playoff final at Wembley Stadium. Now, Leighton Orient as well, I had been to their ground, which was when I was going around with my mate Mick to watch Maidstone United. And we got absolutely thumped 4-1. But the fans there were lovely. They were really, really nice people. I also know that any of you Arsenal fans out there that one of the mighty, the club legend Kevin Campbell was there on loan for a while, and he scored loads of goals for them. And also, I understand as well, at some point, I think they were owned or part owned by Barry Hearn, the famous boxing promoter. Whether that's true or not, I'm not 100% sure because I wasn't able to find out. But anyway, Leighton Orient, they also recently, there was a big dispute between them and Tottenham over I think it was them, Tottenham, over the going to the Olympic Stadium, because I think both of them at one stage wanted to go there. But in the end, neither of them ended up going there, as we all know, because West Ham ended up going there. So, yeah, that's Leighton Orient. So let's move on to the next club, as they say. Okay, so the next team today is Rochdale. Now, Rochdale has it's quite close to my heart. Now, the reason they're close to my heart is not because of any affiliation I have with Rochdale or the football club or the people or anything like that. The reason is because of what happened the day I went there to watch them playing Maidstone United. Now, myself and one of my good buddies, Mick, we went up there on the coach, and to this day, I still can't believe all the things that happened while we were there. It was an absolute madhouse. But I'll explain all that and tell you those stories when I talk to you about the grounds that I visited while I was been watching football in this country. But yeah, needless to say, it was one of the funniest things that I've ever witnessed whilst being a football fan. So yeah, moving on. So Rochdale finished 82nd in my list with 240 points. They are nicknamed the Dale, and they have played at home matches at Spotland Stadium since 1920 and were founded in 1907. And they were invited into the Football League when the 3rd Division North was created in 1921. In 1923-24 and 26-27, they secured 2nd place finishes in Tier 3 and also 2 3rd place finishes in 25-26 and 1949-50. But they didn't win promotion in any of these seasons because of the way that promotion and relegation worked between Tier 2 and Tier 3 at that time. Basically, like I think I've said earlier to you earlier today, I'm going to try and put something on the Warren's Team Talk Facebook page about what this system was, how it worked, and so on and so forth. So just keep your eye on that. Hopefully sometime over the weekend that will appear there. But I'll try and let you know when it does arrive. So yeah, but basically what happened was at that time, only the champions of the 3rd Division North and the 3rd Division South would be promoted into Tier 2 because only 2 teams were relegated out of Tier 2. So obviously there were only 2 spaces up for grabs and there were 2 leagues, so that was the only way they could really do it. Anyway, so moving on. They were relegated out of the new nationwide 3rd Division Tier 3 in 1959 and then lost to Norwich City in the League Cup final in 1962, 4-0 on aggregate after a home and away 2-legged final, losing the first game at their Spotland home 3-0 and then losing 1-0 in the return game at Carrow Road 1-0. But they then went on to secure promotion out of the 4th Division, Tier 4, in 1968-69 after finishing 3rd in Tier 4. They were then relegated in 1974. but Rochdale remained in the fourth tier for 36 seasons after unsuccessful playoff campaigns in 2002, 2008 and 2009. The club finally secured automatic promotion in 2009-10 for the first time in 41 years when they finished third in Tier 4. And then after following relegation in 2012, they were again promoted out of Tier 4 in 2013-14. So yeah, so that's the Dale for you. Okay, so the next team today is Shrewsbury Town. Now, Shrewsbury Town finished 81st in my list with 244 points. And Shrewsbury Town were founded in 1886 and were admitted into the Football League in 1950 and won promotion out of the 4th Division at the end of the 1958-59 season after finishing 4th. In 1959-60 and 67-68, they achieved 3rd place finishes in both these seasons, but did not get promoted because only 2 clubs were relegated from Tier 2. They were promoted again in 1974-75 after finishing 2nd in Tier 4 and after being relegated the previous year, and went on to win the 3rd Division title in 1978-79. They then returned to the 4th tier following relegations in 1989 and 1992, where they won another league title in 1993-94. The club lost in the 1996 Football League Trophy final 2-1 to Rotherham at Wembley Stadium in front of a crowd of 35,235, and then dropped into non-league football after suffering relegations in 1997 and 2003. Shrewsbury immediately regained their Football League status after winning the 2004 Conference playoff final. And then in 2010-2011, they finished 4th in Tier 4, but lost 2-0 to Torquay United on aggregate in the playoff semi-finals. And they then went on to win automatic promotion in 2011-12 after finishing 2nd in Tier 4, and then again in 2014-15 after relegation the previous season. They then finished as runners-up in the 2018 EFL Trophy final and the 2018 League One playoff final. In 2017-18, Shrewsbury Town finished 3rd in Tier 3, and lost 2-1 after extra time to Rotherham in the playoff final at Wembley Stadium in front of a crowd of 26,218. And also that season, they had a second visit to Wembley Stadium for the EFL Trophy final, where they lost to Lincoln City 1-0. This time, the game had an attendance of 41,261. So that was the story of Shrewsbury Town. Okay, so the last club that we're going to look at today is Bristol Rovers. Now, Bristol Rovers finished 80th in my list, and they secured 246 points. The club was formed in 1883, and their nickname is the Pirates, which explains the image of the pirate in the club badge. And locally, the club are apparently known as the Gas, because the old ground was next to a gasworks. The club were admitted into the Football League in 1920 and were placed into the 3rd Division South the following year, and stayed there until they won promotion by winning the 3rd tier title in 1952-53 season. They recorded their highest finishing positions in 1956 and 59. A 6th place finish in the 2nd Division Tier 2 is the closest they came to the top flight, was in 1955-56, when they ended the season just 4 points below the promotion positions in 6th place. In 1970, they finished 3rd in Tier 3, and then in 1974, they were successful in securing a 2nd place finish in Tier 3. In 1990, they won their only league title when they won the Tier 3 championship, when they beat local rivals Bristol City by 2 points to the title. I mean, I'm sure that went down well in Bristol, beating the local rivals by 2 points, because I'm aware that the rivalry between the two clubs in Bristol does spill over sometimes and is quite ferocious. And that season, they had an unbeaten home season as well. So that must have been quite a season for them. Also that season, they lost to Tranmere Rovers 2-1 in front of 48,442 fans at Wembley Stadium. In 1994-95, they finished 4th in Tier 3 and missed out on promotion to Tier 2 by losing 2-1 to Huddersfield Town in the playoff final at Wembley. In 2016 season, in the 2016 season, they secured a 3rd place finish in Tier 4 and were on promotion to Tier 3 on goal difference, where they had a goal difference which was superior by 5 goals to Accrington Stanley, who we spoke about in a recent video, you may remember, who finished 4th. In 2007, they secured promotion to Tier 3 through the playoffs by beating Shrewsbury Town 3-1 at Wembley that season, and then they lost 3-2 to Doncaster Rovers at the Millennium Stadium at Cardiff City in front of 59,024 spectators. This was also the last time that the EFL Trophy final was held at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, before it returned to Wembley Stadium the very next season. They were also the first 3rd Division team to win an FA Cup tie away to a Premier League side when in 2002 they beat Derby County 3-1 at Pride Park Stadium. So that must have been quite a day out for the boys from Bristol Rovers, I'm sure. So that's the end of this week's episode of England's most successful football club, part 5 in the series. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it interesting. Also, before I go, I'd just like to say how sad I was to hear about the passing of Paolo Rossi the other day. it just seems at the moment we're just losing people left, right, and centre. We've had Paolo Rossi, we've had Maradona, we've had Barbara Windsor. It's getting really, really sad. But anyway, so thanks for watching, and don't forget, please put a like on the video down below in the description. Also, make sure that you pass it around to friends and family and ask them to do likewise. And if they can subscribe to the channel as well, that would be great, because then that way you won't miss out on any future videos that I decide to put up. And yeah, thanks again to all those people who have subscribed already. It's fantastic. And all the people that have watched my videos, I'm really, really grateful for that. But please keep it up and let's get this baby rolling. So anyway, I hope you have a great day and you've enjoyed the video, and I'll look forward to speaking to you all again next week. Until then, have a great week and take care. Bye.